Let's discuss magnetism. Basically, when we talk about magnetism, magnetism is a property of materials that will respond, obviously at an atomic or subatomic level, to an applied magnetic field. So this is an animation which shows you how a property of material is responding to the applied magnetic field over here. Now let's talk about the cause of magnetism. So when we talk about the cause lies in the circulating charges in an atom. So in an atom, you know very well, according to Rutherford, the electrons would be moving in circular orbits. Okay, so they would be revolving as well as they would be rotating or spinning basically. So when they revolve or rotate, can I say the charges they move or they are the circulating electrons? So they would behave like circulating charges. And circulating charges basically can be compared to a ring of wire carrying current. Now, whenever current flows through the wire, magnetic field is generated around it. So that's the basic cause of magnetism. Now, we are going to discuss Earth's magnetism in greater details today. So, when we talk about Earth, you can see there is magma at the central part of the Earth. Okay, it contains ions. So, whenever the Earth rotates and revolves, you can see the ions they move. Now, when the ions or the charges move, they are like circulating electrons basically, and that gives rise to magnetism around the Earth. Now, when I'm saying magnetism around the Earth, okay, it means terrestrial magnetism, which I'm talking about. So you can consider a bar magnet, imaginary bar magnet at the center of Earth when we would discuss the terrestrial magnetism or Earth's magnetism. The Earth rotates as well as it revolves. So the ions in the core of Earth, they keep on moving, they keep on circulating. They act like circulating charges which create magnetic field around it. So you can consider that there is a huge magnet placed at the center of Earth with the magnet south pole pointing north and magnet's north pole pointing south. Right. So this is how Earth's magnetism comes into picture, and a study of Earth's magnetic field in this manner, we would call it as terrestrial magnetism or geomagnetism. Now, when we study geomagnetism or terrestrial magnetism in greater details, there are basic terminologies which we need to take into consideration. So let's talk about the first one. So here you can see, we need to understand there would be always a force acting on a suspended magnet due to the magnetic field which we have just talked about right now, because the earth gets magnetized because of the ions or the circulating charges at the core. So that's what I said in the earlier stage also. You can consider like there is a huge bar magnet at the center of the earth, within the earth you can see, which is creating the magnetic field around the earth, which we call it as geomagnetism. Now here one needs to note down that the imaginary magnet, okay, so this is the imaginary magnet which we are talking about. It has its north pole towards south. So this is the north pole, the red marked pole towards south, and the south pole towards north. Okay. Approximately, when we talk about Earth's magnetic field, that strength would be equal to 10 raised to minus 4 Tesla. It's the order of 10 raised to minus 4 Tesla. Now, normally you can see we talk about the geographic North Pole, line joining geographic North Pole and geographic South Pole. We will consider it as geographic axis. Similarly, there is a line joining magnetic North Pole and magnetic South Pole. We'll call it as magnetic axis. The plane containing geographic axis will be called as geographic meridian, whereas the plane containing the magnetic axis will be considered as magnetic meridian, And between these two meridians, they don't coincide with, but they have some angle between them, and that angle is nearly 11.5 degrees as shown in the figure. So here you can see the strength of the Earth's magnetic field. It will vary from place to place, but it will also vary from period or time to time also at times. Okay. So let's get back to the terminologies once again. Okay, when I was talking about the terminology, the first terminology which I talked about was magnetic meridian. So magnetic meridian is a vertical plane that would be passing through magnetic north and magnetic south of Earth. You can see. Similarly, when I talk about geographic meridian, basically, or magnetic axis, which is contained in magnetic meridian, you can say in the initial stage, it's a straight line which joins the magnetic poles of Earth. And we have seen approximately it is inclined to Earth's geographic axis by say 11.5 or approximately 11.5, I said, not 11.3. Here you can see that angle 11.3 or 11.5. You can make that correction because it's approximate, not exact. Okay. Let's talk about what is magnetic equator then. So hopefully these things are very clear to you. What is magnetic axis? And the plane which contains magnetic axis is magnetic meridian. The plane which contains geographic axis is geographic meridian. And the angle between them, there exists some angle between them. Varies from 11.3 to 11.5 approximately, you can see. Magnetic equator. Now, when I say magnetic equator, how we define it's a great circle, okay, on the surface of Earth in a plane perpendicular to the magnetic axis. So, a great circle which is perpendicular to the magnetic axis will be called as magnetic equator. So here you can see this is the line showing the magnetic equator, line passing through magnetic equator, or representing magnetic equator in simple words. And you can see this magnetic equator is perpendicular to the magnetic axis. Similarly, you can have an assumption or you can have a notation over here that, understanding over here that geographic axis will be perpendicular to the geographic equator. So let's have a definition for geographic equator. Here in the diagram, we can see the geographic equator is again perpendicular to the geographic axis. So what is geographic equator then? So first of all, let's talk about geographic meridian. It's a vertical plane passing through the geographic north and south of Earth. Then geographic axis, it's a line joining geographic north and south, or in simple words, the line about which the Earth spins or rotates. And then we talk about geographic equator in simple words. So obviously it's a great circle on the surface of Earth in a plane perpendicular to the geographic axis as shown in the figure. Let's talk about magnetic declination of Earth's magnetic field. When we talk about Earth's magnetic declination, just imagine the book open in 3 dimensions. You can see whenever you open a book, it will look somewhat like this. Say one page represents magnetic meridian and other page represents geographic meridian. Then the angle between the geographic meridian and magnetic meridian, you can see, will be called as angle of declination, and it is denoted by the notation theta over here. Similarly, whenever you take a magnetic needle, basically this magnetic needle should point north, geographic north, magnetic north in fact. But whenever you start moving from equator to the poles, what happens is this magnetic needle, it will dip, it will show a dip, it will show an inclination downwards. That dip is denoted by delta, and that angle is called as angle of dip. So the direction in which the magnetic needle declines, okay, you can see it dips basically, not declines, dips. That direction is the direction of Earth's magnetic field. Now, because Earth's magnetic field is a vector quantity, we can resolve this vector into two components as per the concept of resolution of vectors which we have studied. So adjacent to delta will be the cosine component and perpendicular to delta will be the sine component. So one component will be the horizontal component and other component will be the vertical component. So Earth's magnetic field then can be splitted up into two parts. VH, which stands for horizontal component, and V suffix V, which stands for vertical component. So here you can see VH stands for the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, and VV stands for the vertical component of Earth's magnetic field. So here you should understand the difference between the two. Okay, so this theta, that is the angle between the geographic and magnetic meridian at a place, given place, is angle of declination. That is different from angle of dip. Angle of dip is the angle which is made by the magnetic needle with the horizontal, and that is denoted by delta. So there has to be a difference between theta and delta, and understanding theta and delta over here. So you can see it is observed that the compass needle does not always point north everywhere. The direction is not same. So here you can say that this shows magnetic meridian does not coincide with the geographic meridian. So obviously it will vary from geographic meridian by certain angle, and this angle we will call it as magnetic declination, and it's shown in the figure by theta. Now this magnetic declination will differ from place to place on the surface of Earth. When I was talking about dip, okay, so let's discuss angle of dip, that is delta, in greater detail. So let's say we are considering a magnetic needle over here. So this magnetic needle, it will always, you know, make some angle with the horizontal plane if it is not on the equator. Right? Have a look at it. It's making some angle with the horizontal plane, and that angle we will call it as angle of dip. Okay, so it's a typological error over here. It should be angle of dip, DIP. So how we define angle of dip then? Okay, so the angle of dip will be defined as the angle between Earth's magnetic field at a place and the horizontal at that. And have a look at it. When we talk about a dip needle, basically it's a compass which is pivoted horizontally, which is free to rotate in vertical plane. So whenever you talk about the angle of dip, it is going to vary on the Earth's surface. At the equator, it will be exactly horizontal, and therefore angle of dip will be 0. So here you can see angle of dip. Here again it's a typological error. Angle of dip will be 0 on equator, but as you start moving towards the pole, it starts declining. It shows some inclination or declination, whatever you call it. Shows some angle, shows some dip. And that angle of dip, by the time you reach pole, will become 90 degrees. So remember one thing, angle of dip at equator will be 0, and the same angle of dip becomes 90 at north pole. And between 0 and 19, that means between equator and the pole, the value of angle of dip will vary between 0 and 90 in this case. So here you can see at other places, its value will lie between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. Let's derive the relation between angle of dip, the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic field, and the vertical component of Earth's magnetic field, VH and VV respectively. So if this angle is delta, V represents Earth's magnetic field. Adjacent to delta will be the cosine component. So V cos delta is nothing but the horizontal component. Perpendicular component is the sine component. So V sine delta is the vertical component. That's what is being noted over here. So Tan delta from trigonometry, you can see this BV would be representing the opposite side, and this is the adjacent side BH. So it will be BV divided by BH. So we also know if I square both the sides over here, okay, so B square cos square delta plus B square sine square delta, that gives me B square plus BH square, because sine square delta plus cos square delta is a trigonometrical identity which will become 1 in this case. So here we have the relation between BV, BH and Earth's magnetic field P, right? Then we have the equation for the angle of dip, that is tan delta equal to BV by BH, where BV stands for vertical component of Earth's magnetic field and BH stands for horizontal component of. So in this problem, they say a magnetic needle free to rotate in vertical plane parallel to the magnetic meridian has its north tip pointing down at, this is 21 degrees, okay, it's not zero over here, 21 degrees 48 minutes with the horizontal. If the horizontal component of Earth's magnetic induction at that place, okay, again a correction, at that place is 3.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 Weber per meter square. Now, Weber per meter square or Tesla, they are the units of Earth's magnetic induction or magnetic induction in general. Then the question they say, determine the Earth's magnetic induction at that particular place. So let's place the given things first. Delta angle of dip is 21 degrees 48 minutes given to us. BH, that is the horizontal component, is given to us as 3.5 into 10 raised to minus 5. Okay, it's not minus 3, then it's minus 5. Let's just check. Let's check. Tan delta, we know it is BV upon BH. So we can find out BV as tan delta BH or BH tan delta. So substitute the value of BH as 3.5 into 10 raised to minus 5 into tan 21 degrees 48 minutes. So this is something which you can substitute from the natural tangents in the log tables. Okay. So when you find out that value comes out to be 0.4. So the value for the vertical component then comes out to be 1.4 into 10 raised to minus 5 Weber per meter square. That means here 10 raised to minus 5 should be in place over here. Okay, that's the correction. Okay. Now we know BH, we know BV, that is the vertical component. So we can find out the Earth's magnetic induction at that place. Just now we have derived the equation. B equal to root of BV square plus BH square. Take these values and substitute. And when you substitute and solve it, ultimately you will get the answer for the Earth's magnetic induction at that place equal to 3.769 into 10 raised to minus 5 Weber per meter square or Tesla.